Hello and welcome to the MSTieCast. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm Justin Turner.
How have you all been? I know it's kind of late in the month for us to be doing an episode, but here we are, as promised, once a month.
Early November, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's been a pretty good time for Mystery Science Theater fans. We had the second Total Riff-Off last month, which sadly I was not able to watch, just because I had work, and then it was on a repeat, and I had work, and I wanted to record it, but it was so long that my grandparents kind of turned it off. So I was like, because they watch something else that comes on at the same time. I don't remember what, but they record it as well, and we can't record both at the same time. So, I'm sure I can find it. So I think you can get it on RiffTrax on demand.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so. I think they do. Yeah, I don't have the channel, so my friend DVR'd it and watched it together. It was like a week later or so. It was fun. They definitely enjoyed making fun of the one guy. They were having a lot of fun with that. They did a lot of callback jokes to the last one with the vampire bat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably find it on demand eventually once I get a little bit of extra cash.
Mm-hmm. The other one were crazy animal video stuff. They had a lot of fun with that too. It was good.
It's really cool to see them riff on TV again, both riffing on TV shows and riffing on television again. I think that's very cool that National Geographic, of all people, not only did this but did it twice.
Yeah. They must love it because of the exposure probably, and they obviously were like, it's all in fun, so I think it's really cool that they got this relationship going now, so I'm sure we'll probably see another one sometime here this year, probably at some point. Yeah.
I mean, personally, I would pay to have the RiffTrax guys do Sci-Fi Channel original movies as they're running. I think that would be so cool if they did that. They aired the maybe the live version of Birdemic or Sharknado, and they kind of made that a thing. Saturday Night RiffTrax presents what's one of the really terrible ones that they have? Alien Apocalypse with Bruce Campbell, something like that. Sorry, Professor Worth.
Well, I guess it would depend if they could get, Sci-Fi Channel willing to do it. Well, things are kind of changing a little bit over there. It's like Bonnie Hammer doesn't run the show there over there anymore, Berkeley. And she was the one that was responsible for probably putting the kibosh on MST3K.
Yeah. Plus, they've become the creature feature station. They found their niche finally.
Yeah, and they kind of were going back to more sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I think they kind of realized trying to become Spike was a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have the Twilight Zone and all that. I would like to see Ripley's make a comeback on the network, because I actually really like watching Ripley's, believe it or not.
I love those old Ripley's, believe it or not, with Jack Palance. I watched a lot of those.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I grew up watching the Dean Cain version that was on TBS.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's what got me into Ripley, and then when I was a kid, we went to the Ripley Museum in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It was really cool.
The one I've been to is the one that's not far from me, the one in Niagara Falls.
Right. I believe there's one in Panama City as well, and I wasn't able to go to it. And then they have the Ripley's Aquarium in Tennessee as well, which I've been to and is really nice. But yeah, I'd like to see Ripley's on the network again. I'd honestly like if they if they went back showing Doctor Who repeats. I know the BBC, BBC America, they've been showing them, pretty well. Like, they've been showing several. I think you can find Doctor Who on at least once a day on their schedule because it's a flagship show now. But I would like if other networks started showing it, I suppose. Because mainly because that's just where I first saw it. So it's kind of a nostalgic thing for me. Yeah. And, I'd like some other shows, but... Yeah.
I'm hoping we hear some more news about Joel to try to do a revival of MST3K. And obviously that's still in the works. He keeps saying that they're working on it, so hopefully we get an update and see, how far along it is. So I'm sure, because a lot of fans were definitely kind of like, whoa, last year when he was mentioned it, stuff like that. So we'll see if anything really becomes of it or not.
Right. I'm really hoping that one is like a Netflix exclusive, because that means they don't really have to go through the, television network system again.
I remember Joel saying that he wasn't looking to try to get it on broadcast TV. That would be like either something like either on Netflix or it'd be something online.
Like Hulu or Amazon, something like that. Amazon especially might actually be a really good fit for Joel.
Oh yeah, Amazon's doing a lot of really getting into. It's like they're following the footsteps of Netflix and really pouring into creating a lot of original content. Also, they might even try to look into making some original movies. I've heard. They got a lot of TV shows in the pipe. They released a bunch of pilots just recently to be looked at for people to vote on what they want to try to launch in the next series. There's one or two shows I'm going to check out on there because I have a Prime subscription, so it's like I get to watch all that stuff for nothing.
There was one show, I can't remember what it was, that's on Amazon, and it got nominated for what show was it? There was some show that was on Amazon that got nominated for an Emmy, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember either, but the one series, Transparent, won some awards at the Golden Globes, so that got a lot of attention.
Yeah. I can't think. I don't remember. Dang it. I know several Netflix shows have been nominated for Emmys. House of Cards, for example.
Oh yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's like Netflix has definitely got their hands full with a lot of their original content between House of Cards and all the Marvel stuff that they got coming out this year.
Oh yeah, Daredevil. I'm really looking forward to.
Oh yeah, Daredevil sounds like it's going to be really good. And then the Jessica Jones one's coming out later this year, and they got David Tennant on the show too. He's playing a very the character he's playing. I recognize the name. He's playing a very infamous villain that's related to the Jessica Jones character. In the comics, the character is known as the Purple Man. He's got mind control powers. He basically did a mind rape job on Jessica Jones in the comics.
Oh.
Yeah, she hates his guts with a passion because of that. It's like he's a real berserk fucker, because he had her under his sway for months before a bunch of the heroes were able to rescue her and stuff. So she really hates that guy's guts. So David Tennant playing that kind of a character, I'm all on board for that.
Yeah, David Tennant does really well when he's playing dark, especially in Broadchurch. Oh, Broadchurch was fantastic. I have not seen the end of the series, and I need to. And they did an American remake as well, where he's also in it and plays the same character.
Yeah, it was Grace Point. It was on Fox.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it because it was on Fox.
I saw a little bit. It looked really good. I just never really got into it. I may have to check that out at some point. My mom saw it a little bit, and she said she liked it.
I remember a few years ago we had a pilot for NBC called Rex Is Not Your Lawyer, where he played a lawyer with social anxiety, and he tried to convince his clients to fight for themselves in court instead of him having to do it. And I think at one point he was considered for the TV adaptation of Thank You for Smoking, And I don't know how well that would have worked.
Yeah. But, yeah, opportunity anyway for MST3K to reach people. It's like, it's like, things have changed so much that you don't have to rely on broadcast TV or cable to be able to, reach people. It's like, I mean, just the way that what they've done, like Netflix has done and what Amazon's doing is, it's like, online subscription, shows. And it'll be interesting if they do that because, like, they could release like a bunch of episodes at a time. Like, do a couple, let them release them, and then like wait a while and do some more.
Yeah, like release them in chunks, and
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the best way to go, especially for a show like MST3K with its runtime.
Mm-hmm. You can take your time and watch, a couple, and it's like by the time you're probably done with the first batch, then they'll probably be able to release a couple of episodes. It's like.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that'll work really well for that type of show.
Mm-hmm.
MST is going to lend itself really well to digital distribution, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, look at what RiffTrax has done between, it's like they got the live shows, it's like, you can download stuff, burn it, or just watch it, stream it, it's like Mike and the guys have really, they've understood, how things are these days with, how the internet works in digital, they dived all in, and stuff, and it shows, and it allows them to, not just reach, the old MSTV fans, it allows them to get new fans, not just for RiffTrax, they get them into RiffTrax, and then, it's like, if they're not familiar with MST3K, that can, that retroactively can get them hooked into the show as well.
Right. I kind of wish Netflix would have more RiffTrax stuff, like the shorts collections or the public domain movies with RiffTrax already attached.
Yeah, about rights or anything like that.
Yeah, like I wish that was on Netflix streaming because I know you can get the DVDs quite easily through Netflix, but most of the people I know do not have the Netflix DVD service anymore. They just have streaming, and if they want a movie,
right now,
they got a Redbox or something.
Yeah, right now RiffTrax has got something going on with like a bunch of movies and some of the other content. And they've also put up some shorts on Hulu as well.
Yeah.
And they also got free MST3K episodes on Hulu as well, so it goes both ways. But they obviously got some kind of deal going on with Hulu to show some of their stuff, so people can check it out.
Right on.
It's everywhere. I mean, between that and they got Shout and Vimeo got a whole ton of episodes, like over 80 episodes are available for rent off of Vimeo for streaming.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. It was people. It was interesting. Like after the show off the air, people were kind of like, I guess I don't know if people ever expected it, to be released on like video, in any kind of way, it's like, kept circulating tapes was definitely something they thought that, that would be the way to keep for people to be able to see the show. But then, yeah, Rhino started it, and then Shout Factory just took the ball and they scored many more touchdowns afterwards with what they've done with being able to get so many episodes released a day. I mean, they've been able to release so many. There's only like so many left that have not been released at this point because of what Shout Factory's been able to pull off. It's like, yeah, if they can pull a miracle and be able to get every single other episode ever released, including like the Godzilla stuff, wow, that would like blow my mind. There's still a lot of like big hurdles to get through. I mean, like besides like the two Godzilla movies, there's a lot of tricky rights stuff left over. But Shout Factory's worked miracles already, so I'm not willing to say it's not going to happen because they, it's like, oh, yeah, they'll never get the rights game wrong. They'll never get rights to this stuff wrong. They'll never find Puma Man wrong again. So it's like, the Shout Factory is their dedication to the show and the fans to get these episodes out for the fans to be able to enjoy, in good DVD quality. It's blown my mind over the last couple of years.
Speaking of Shout Factory, Volume 32 set press release dropped.
Yeah, yes.
On this DVD, we have Space Travelers, Hercules, Radar Secret Service, and San Francisco International.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. It's interesting that this is all Comedy Central era episodes. It hasn't been like that throughout, because they've thrown a lot of sci-fi era episodes the last couple of sets.
Yeah.
And it's got a good balance. It's got the good balance again. You got two Mike and two Joel again. And I kind of knew some of these were coming, but Space Travelers was definitely one of the biggest surprises, because is that Sony? Yeah. So that opened up at least another 2 episodes that you could expect. I've seen Hercules and Son of San Francisco International. I've never watched Space Travelers or Radar Secret Service. So
I'm the same way. I've seen those 2. I haven't seen the others. I would really like to watch Space Travelers, just because it won an Oscar.
Yeah,
so I would like to see how far the mighty have fallen to be on MST3K.
Yeah.
I mean, Gene Hackman, Gregory Peck, Lee Grant.
Yeah, that was definitely an example of, like, really, it was definitely an early example of, you know what, we don't care, we're going to, you can even try to riff even on something that is considered a good movie, RiffTrax and picked up a lot of that the last couple of years, but that was definitely one of those examples where people kind of like, huh, really? Because for people who don't know, Space Travelers is basically a recut of science fiction movie Marooned, which won an Oscar for best special effects. And like Toby said, it's got some pretty good actors in this movie. It's got a good cast in it. So it was re-edited for some kind of, I think it was for syndication packages, and it was dubbed Space Travelers. I don't know the exact reason why the name was changed, but they were able to get a hold of it and they riffed on it. And I've heard some people like this one, some people don't. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. I mean, because I've never seen it, so I'm not going to ask good on it. But we should see what the special feature will be about. Talking about the movie and everything.
Yeah, it's called Marooned Forgotten Odyssey, and we also have introductions from Frank, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Frank is very funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's probably doing all 4 since those all took place during his time on the show, so probably see him do all 4 intros for all 4 episodes, which is cool,
Should have called it the MST3K Yuki edition.
Yeah, they're definitely getting their mileage out of getting cast members to do intros. Joel has done a lot of them the last couple sets. So.
Right.
Even ones that Mike episodes, like on the Turkey Day set, which I thought was really cool. It's like that's Joel for you. It's like even though I didn't host these episodes, I'm going to do an intro on them anyway.
Well, because they couldn't pony up enough cash to get Mike to put on the Jack Perkins outfit again.
Probably not.
He's just like, no.
The other interesting thing I noticed is that there's going to be a featurette on Satellite News and Sampo himself.
Yes, our good friend Sampo is going to be on one of these DVDs, which is really freaking cool.
Well, I think it's really cool because Satellite News is such a huge venue for the fandom. It's like they carried the torch for a long time. After the show was canceled, fans could be able to get together and discuss the show and everything on the boards, keep track of all kinds of new stuff, and plus Shout has been really nice to Sampo and people run the site, giving them exclusives. It's like about what's coming up in the next box set or this and that. So I think it's really nice that the site's getting some recognition because that's where I met a lot of people. Especially you guys involved in the show and a lot of other fellow fans, be able to chat about the show that I fell in love with. So that's really cool. Let me see what he says.
Yeah, it's very cool because, it's kind of rare nowadays for shows to have official fan clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of odd to think that that was a common practice, and now the fan club is still around. It's just not official anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's become this, much bigger, more encompassing site.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stood around this long, which is very surprising, but very, very cool.
Yeah, it is.
So I look forward to it. It's probably going to be one of the next box sets on my list after I pick up a couple that I've missed.
Yeah, I finally caught up myself. My parents gave me 2 box sets for this Christmas gift, which I was really thankful for. It was 29 and 30. And when I had the cash, I was able to finally purchase the Turkey Day set in November. So I'm finally all caught up on all the box sets. So.
I actually went to my local collectibles store last week because we play D&D at the gaming store next door, and I was talking about Mystery Science Theater, and he said, "Oh, we had one of those model kits of Mike and the bots." I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, we already sold it." I'm like, "That
would have been cool to get your hands on.
that would have been great. That would have looked so nice on my shelf. I would have been so happy to have that." But I'm not surprised it went fast. Those things are hard to find.
Oh yeah, I'm sure some MST saw that and was like, mine.
Just give now.
It's like, give me that precious.
Precious. That's a crown jewel right there. I mean, you can get a bot fairly easily. It's not cheap, but it's you can find them pretty easily on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
But that collectible is actually really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Although he did tell me that they would give me a call if they got any more MST stuff in. So here's hoping. Mm-hmm. They're a very cool store.
There's episodes on a lot of older box sets I haven't even got to. It's just like sometimes just taking the time. Actually, I don't know. I used to enjoy watching on my own, but I kind of seem to enjoy it more when I watch it with some of my friends. It's like I seem to do that more than I watch them on my own anymore. But I think I need to get back in the habit, so I can kind of try to catch up, especially ones that I've never seen before.
Right. I'm the same way. There's episodes I definitely like, to watch with friends. Manos is one it's kind of hard for me to watch by myself.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just it's because I've already seen it, so there's kind of the cheating of watching it again, and the fact that it's unless you're in a certain mood, it's just kind of hard to get through in the first place. But with friends, you can kind of laugh at all the same things, and you can point out stuff that Joel and the bots aren't really touch on, like the guy with the clapboard, stuff like that. But then there are episodes that I will absolutely watch, by myself. A Werewolf, Soul Taker, Warrior of the Lost World. That's a great one. I can watch those by myself at any time. Like I'll if I'm in my room, if I'm working, if I'm working on a script or something, I will usually like have that on in the background or some YouTube videos or something. But that's one I could just have on, and I like having it on. So yeah. There are some more I definitely need to watch. I probably will watch Space Travelers, aka Marooned, at some point soon, while I'm working. So I'll probably do that like this week or something. Another bit of news. Shortened episodes of MST3K are headed to public television stations.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's probably a lot of the public domain stuff, episodes.
Let me look. It's going to be 4 episodes. I'm trying to see if it shows which.
Are they going to be on like regular networks or specific networks?
It just says public television networks, and it's up to the programmers.
Like, are you talking like PBS?
Yeah, PBS, stuff like that.
Really? MST3K and PBS.
Up next, Masterpiece Theater, Sherlock. Then, Mystery Science Theater, 3000. I'm trying to see which episodes it is.
I heard something about that a while back. I didn't know where it was going to show up on TV. That's interesting.
I mean, Doctor Who is on public television, so I guess it's not that weird.
No, it's like PBS has been showing Doctor Who since like the 80s. Because that's when I first saw the old Doctor Who stuff when I was growing up on PBS, my local PBS station.
Episodes will be edited down to 88 minutes, and so far it just said, okay, Manos, of course, Hercules and the Captive Women, Gunslinger, and The Unearthly.
Not bad.
Good Joel episodes. If programmers embrace these, there could be an ongoing best of MST3K.
Well, definitely the one advantage is the lack of commercials.
Yeah. That's probably like the first thing they're going to cut is like the commercial bumps.
Probably. I mean, they won't, since there's no commercials, they can do it within the hour and a half, because like, just like when they show like a lot of the British stuff, because like British TV doesn't do, commercials like America does. So that's why you can watch like a whole thing like uncut, of like, whether it's Downton Abbey or Sherlock or Doctor Who,
And then when they have Doctor Who on American stations, which is something that does rub me the wrong way, even on BBC America, they will cut bits out of the episode after it's premiered, so it can fit into a regular time slot, and that bugs me.
Yeah, because like it's like they PBS only does commercials in between stuff. They don't like oh, it's time for a commercial break.
Yeah, I mean you can watch an entire movie on PBS. I was surfing PBS last year, and Batman was on the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I was like, yeah.
Stations do that. Like one of the PBS stations in this part of New York, they have like Saturday night movies, and they'll show like all kinds of movies, both like new and old stuff, whatever they can get their hands on. So I think that definitely helps that, like commercials, almost like kind of like watching it right off off a box set. It's like no commercials. Probably just have to trim out. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully nothing on the whole segments.
Yeah, I'm hoping. It says the episodes which run between 94 and 97 minutes will be edited down to 88. So that's a good 14, 17 minutes worth of content. Yeah. But, I mean, they did that before with the MST3K hour, so it's,
Yeah, I would say that it's like, it's
in fact, I think
all... the kind of experiment is the MST hour.
I believe all of these were on the MST hour, if I remember correctly. Well, I know Manos was.
But this is actually kind of better than the MST hour, because the MST hour, they cut like the episode in half. It's like it was part one week, and then next week the other part.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think these were on the MST3 hour, so I guess it was proven that these could have stuff cut down. And not lose a whole lot, especially Manos, because you can cut a lot out of Manos. You can cut so much out of Manos and not miss a thing, except maybe a few jokes, and even then the jokes are just, get on with it.
Oh, totally.
I'm guessing a lot of it's gonna be like the driving in the first 10 minutes.
I'll let you know if the PBS station in my area shows it or not. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. Oh, that's very, very interesting. Is Shout is behind that? Or
yeah, it's Shout. Shout Factory, the Los Angeles distributor that owns TV rights, recently approached APT, that is American Public Television's group, I should say, with an offer. Said Eric Luskin, VP of Premium Service and Syndication. Luskin was not familiar with MST3K, but mentioned it to Allison Schmidt, Senior Program Associate Syndication, who reacted enthusiastically. She said, "We have to get this."
Wow.
So, yeah. I will keep up with it and see if it does come onto my area, because I'm missing the fact that it's on Retro TV and I don't get that channel.
Neither do I. So.
Yeah, I don't have a way to get that channel. Because I don't have one of those over-the-air antennas anymore. So I'm sure I can get one at some point, because we're probably going to be cutting our cable TV out very soon anyway. Because we have Netflix now, so what do we need TV for?
I know.
I have Netflix and the internet. What do I need TV for?
It's both cable and satellite. They're really gonna have to. They're gonna have to do something because the prices that they charge people are just gonna. More people are just gonna be like, you know what? Between eventually stuff is posted for free online or via Netflix or Amazon, they can watch it. You know, or heck, you were even up to iTunes. You know.
Exactly. And then there's stuff like live sports, and it's like, well, you can find streams of that on the internet.
Exactly.
I can find a stream of the Super Bowl very easily.
Mm-hmm.
NFL hates it, but it's easy.
I found websites that stream like cable stuff like off their site. It's like so I've been able to see shows that I don't have access to because I have like a basic package online. You know, it's like
heck, I actually have there's a fantastic plugin for your browser. It's called Ola, and what it does is you can use it and go to another country's website like BBC iPlayer, and it will make iPlayer think you're in the UK, so you could watch BBC stuff on there. And that's very cool. So if I like miss Doctor Who or something like that, I can just watch it there. It's very cool. I'm also using it. Also works for Netflix, so I can watch Netflix in other countries, which is cool because they have stuff that we don't. Like Netflix Canada has shows that we don't, which is cool.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, you know, it depends on like you know what's popular there. You know, those might be make certain stuff available to them that you know may not be so much in demand here. You know, kind of like make things unique. You know, like this is like exclusive to this. You know?
Yeah, it's very cool, and plus it's like I'm not doing anything illegal or anything. I'm paying for my Netflix account. Might as well get the most of it, you know.
Yeah. You know, I saw recently like Sci-Fi in Australia, the Sci-Fi Australia network is starting to show like BSG, and they're making a big deal out of it because I don't think it aired there much previously, so it's like
right.
But MST3K is everywhere.
It's everywhere, and we're very very happy about it.
No, it's like you know it's like circulating the tapes is taken on is gone beyond what probably the fandom and Joel and everybody who was involved in the show ever thought it would because it literally is it's all over the place. It's not that hard to be able to find an episode to watch even if it's not even available on DVD yet. You know, there's still plenty of stuff on YouTube and other places where you can see unreleased stuff.
Exactly, and it's like, you know, I've often said Mystery Science Theater is a show,
or stuff that like on the old Rhino sets that hasn't been released. That's not that hard.
Right. I've often said Mystery Science Theater is a show that was very ahead of its time, both in its its approach to films and its general attitude. Shows like that have come and gone, but Mystery Science Theater has staying power, and that's why it's still here in 2015, like on YouTube, and it's on Netflix and on Hulu and on Dasher and on Dancer and on Prancer and Vixen.
Yeah, the fact that the fans are still the fan base is still strong, and also in a way continues to expand thanks to what the success of RiffTrax. And also, in some extent, Cement Titanic as well was around that. And both of those, and especially RiffTrax, have shown that people, that the whole ripping thing still resonates, and it continues to entertain people, both the old MST3K fans like us, and newer fans who are kind of just getting into it, kind of like, what is this RiffTrax stuff,
Very much like I was, just a few short years ago. I wouldn't say I'm an older fan, because again, I didn't come in until well after the show had ended. I'm kind of the example of the new fan who got into it thanks to the internet, and a lot of that is because MST3K kind of from the beginning, back from season one, they latched onto a very tech savvy, very computer literate audience who kind of
Mm-hmm.
carry the message out through the internet, and that's why you had like the use groups, and the first major internet flame wars
Mm-hmm.
happened because of MST3K, and they did like the Mac and PC joke before, like way before that was even like a thing in pop
I know,
culture.
yeah. That's one of my favorite skits. It's like when Servo Pro are arguing Mac versus PC.
It's like, wow, you like they predicted something that would be like a major pop
Mm-hmm.
culture thing
Mm-hmm.
in like a decade or so.
Exactly.
And it's because of that nowadays someone can go, oh, this show is great, and they find it on YouTube, and they send it to their friend who lives in a country that doesn't have MST3K, and they go, oh, this is great, I wish they'd show it in my country, and then like it gains support, and that's why you have it coming on in Australia, or
Mm-hmm.
you have it appearing on Hulu or Netflix or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it got distributed everywhere. That's why it kept circulating tapes even. Like, I remember, I forget what episode it was, but there was like a fan letter in one episode of a fan in England who got, VHS tapes of episodes sent to him because it didn't air over there. It's like the fans really reached out to let other people know that, it's like if they heard about it, it's like it wasn't available, outside the U.S. It's like, no problem, let me ship you a VHS copy of this episode.
Right,
And
and like that was proven to work way back in like the 70s with like Doctor Who fans. They would do that.
mhm,
uh, like when John Pertwee was on, they would send each other. The Australians would send copies of the first two Doctor episodes that were running locally to fill in the collection of UK fans, and then the UK fans would ship back the John Pertwee episodes that the Australians would not be able to see for at least like a year or two.
mhm.
And so that kind of dynamic between international fans has always existed, and MST3K was really smart in how they approached it and how they uh, what's the word? How they used it to their advantage.
Mhm. And the other thing is that you can see it now also, like you were saying, that all the former cast members are very into social media, both on Facebook and Twitter, especially, Mike, Kevin, and Bill are tweeting like all the time.
Yeah,
And Joel tweets now very, very frequently. Frank does. Trace not so much. It's not the same, but like Jay Ellis and Mary Jo also they do a lot of tweeting as well. So it's like they're all very pretty much in tune to the current social media. How they communicate with the fans. So it's like that. So it shows that they definitely were not only ahead of time, but they also understand what's going on now. It's like they're totally zeroed in. They're not like some, you know, they're not behind the times. They've been ahead of the times, and they're also still thinking ahead and so using what's current now to be able to continue to be able to communicate with both new and old fans. It's really amazing.
uh, and I'm wondering, back before it premiered on Sci-Fi Channel, they did this thing. I can't remember the name of the movie, but they aired this movie and then had like live commentary by fans as text crawls. And I don't know if that was a Best Brains idea or a Sci-Fi Channel idea,
Mm.
but either way, that's become a thing now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you can watch like CNN or even like local news programs, or I believe G4 was doing this for a while with like cops, that they would show like tweets on
Hmm.
screen, like running commentary.
Oh yeah. It's
And
it's inspired so much stuff. I mean, besides like fan-driven projects like Incognito Simi Warriors XP, which I absolutely adore.
oh yeah,
And, and I mean, not to it, you know, not to get like too political or anything, but there was a big stink online um, about conservative talk show host Glenn Beck. He and his buddies did like a live riff, mystery MST3K style riff on the State of the Union address, and it had a very MST3 style logo. And some people, especially like Frank Conniff, who leans to the left, didn't take too kindly to that, but you know, it goes all the ways. You know, even people that people, you know, may not agree with, they're obviously inspired by MST3K, no matter what their political leaning is. So it continues to inspire both in a lot of surprising ways. Like, when I saw that, I kind of got a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I had a feeling, I wasn't surprised Frank made us think about it because he's not a fan of that.
No.
It's like,
I mean,
they're on opposite sides.
Mike is pretty conservative. I don't even think he liked it, but I could be wrong.
Well, Frank was the only one. I think like Kevin and a couple others were mocking it too. You know, it's like, you know, that he was doing something like
well,
that.
Frank obviously had the biggest problem with it, but
yes, he can't stand that. Yeah, it's like it's like if you follow Frank's Twitter, you know it's very clear that he's a very hardcore liberal and he despises anything on the opposite side of the political spectrum.
yeah.
It's like it's like he will get. I've seen him get into debates with people on Twitter. He doesn't hold back.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't hold back in his beliefs.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like, and you know, I don't agree with a lot of his beliefs, but you know, I respect him for, you know, he's a smart guy. I think he's funny. You know, but, you know, it's like I don't agree with his politics, but you know, I don't hold that against him. You know, it's like, so, you know, I just kind of let that be. You know, that's his thing. You know,
Right.
And well, I think that thankfully it's not ever translated over to fans either. I mean, you know, fans that may, you know, have those kind of, you know, agree with Frank on certain things like that. They don't give Mike a hard time just because he's not like he doesn't share those kind of political leanings either. So I'm glad that that stuff has stayed out of the fandom because honestly, politics can get an easily poisonous topic.
Oh yeah. That's one of the very good things about MST3K fans is, you know, generally they, or I should say we are a very kind of easygoing crowd. Like we can be very, you know, what's the word? We can be very passionate about topics, but we know that there's a time and a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about MST3K is not the time or the place for talking about politics.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bring that into the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not gonna fly. And you know, the closest thing we'll bring up is Mike versus Joel.
Yeah.
And even then,
that's not and that's really not a big deal anymore at all. You know, it's like, you know, people in the fandom who prefer, you know, Mike or Joel as the host, they don't give each other a hard time anymore. It's kind of just like, well, it's kind of just like almost like a curiosity question. It's like, well, do you prefer Joel? What do you prefer Mike episodes and why? And people will sit back and go like, oh, okay. You know, when, you know, someone, you know, explains what, or some people enjoy both. You know, it's like,
I think it's just because we've kind of all realized, well, that was kind of a stupid thing to get in arguments about. There's more important things to be mad about, like ethics and video game journalism or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Or like the people who gave Kevin a hard time when he replaced Josh as the voice of Tom Servo. You know, the infamous "I hate Tom Servo" banner that Kevin still proudly has as a souvenir.
I think that guy was just one lone nut job. I don't think anyone was that mad about it.
I don't think so either. I think just because of how unique it was, that's why he's held on to it all these years.
That's just such a weird thing to get hung up about, is the voice of a plastic robot puppet.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing too, like you know, it wasn't just like Joel, you know, Mike replacing Joel, you know, like all the different bot voices, you know, a lot of people there's, you know, more fans prefer obviously Kevin over Josh as Servo's voice.
Some people prefer Bill over Trace as Crow, you know.
Yeah, or vice versa, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, they all four of them each had different takes on that character's performance. You know, and you can tell when you watch enough episodes the difference between how Trace portrayed Crow and how Bill portrayed Crow in the later years.
Or Patrick portrayed Gypsy and Jim portrayed Gypsy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's nuances to how they perform the characters.
Yeah, and I don't consider like one better than the other. Each one is different, and it's like I enjoy it. that's pretty different. It's like compared to like other TV shows, like I think of the like on the X Files when like David Duchovny left the X Files and Mulder left the show. It's like it wasn't really the same for me after that. It's like MST3K is one of those exceptions where there with all the changes to the show, it didn't hurt the show at all.
No, it didn't. I know
the show kept going.
I know The Office, like when Steve Carell left The Office, that kind of hurt the show. From people who watch it, they tell me. I don't watch The Office, but
neither did I.
They said once Carell left, kind of a lot of the magic left because a lot of it was the dynamic between him and Dwight. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could see that. Like when the leading man of that kind of show leaves, mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's an ensemble comedy, so it really shouldn't hurt it that much.
No.
I've read that show described as broad comedic characters exchanging meaningful looks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that show in a nutshell? And I'm like, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and MST3K's uniqueness allowed it to, be able to handle, a lot of the changes and shifts that, people, coming and going throughout its 10-year existence. It never hurt the show. It just kept on going. And in the fandom, it's like it's not a big deal, not anymore.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is that they had replacements that were different enough yet the same enough that it didn't hurt the show as mm-hmm. much as it could. Like if Mike came in and he was like too different from Joel, it wouldn't have worked.
Mm-hmm.
If he was exactly the same as Joel, it would have just been you're ripping off Joel.
Yeah, you're just trying to imitate Joel. No, that was the thing. It's like like when Bill did Crow, it's like there's still some stuff of what Crow used to be, but he put a lot of his own spin into the character over time. It's like because like those first couple of sci-fi episodes, it sounds like he's trying to imitate Trace, but then after a while, he finally starts using like more of like his own voice, putting more of himself into Crow, and not trying to imitate.
Kevin did the same thing when he took over from Josh. He kind of sort of did an impression of Josh's, mighty voice, Tom Servo.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, it became Kevin Murphy as Tom Servo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. That's, that's kind of what you want in the character, is to, have so much of yourself into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone else could have played, Dr. Clayton Forrester. No one could have done that. No one could replace TV's Frank like as a character. No one could just step into the same character.
Yeah, no one could take over the character, from him and play it. It's like every member of the cast put their own stamp on the show that was unique and entertaining, and that's one of the things that I love. My MST3K is so special to me as like one of my all-time favorite shows. It just is. It's that's part of it. So many other shows, atrophied over time. Where MST3K is one of the few that
it kept getting better.
It got better. Even after Joel left, continued to do well and even get better. I mean, even though it went to left Comedy Central to Sci-Fi, there's so many amazing episodes of Sci-Fi here that are just they're just absolute classics that most the majority of the fandom will agree. It's like, yeah, that's a classic episode. That episode was awesome. They never lost, even in the final season. The final season, it's like, there's a couple of like okay-ish episodes, but there's still a lot of like really good ones. Like Girl and Go Roots, is like one of my absolute favorites, and that's from season 10. Like there's a couple others that are examples like that. It's like they were still. I mean, they could have kept going for a little while longer if they had the opportunity to. It's like but because there was still plenty of gas in the tank even in season 10.
But it was good that it ended where it did, instead of getting on to a point where it was where it was a slog, it was a chore to watch the show.
Yeah, because they went out while they were still doing it good. It's like it wasn't like it's like how the Simpsons are. The Simpsons is. I stopped watching the Simpsons longer because it's like it's just been kept going and going. It's that The Simpsons that's on the air right now is not the Simpsons I remember enjoying in the 90s.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
It should have been put to bed a long time ago, but it's like for money reasons they just kept it going and going and going, and it's like I'm just like every year I'm just like just let it die. You know,
Please.
it's I mean it's an historic show, you know, as far as animation and what on television, but its time has come and gone. It's time to let it go.
It really has. Futurama ended on a very high note after, you know, moving to a different network. It took a while to find itself after it came back, but when it did, it was great. It felt like it used to, and then it ended, and it ended on a perfect place. I honestly don't want Futurama to come back, just because I think coming back twice, it'll be a bit too rough. I think, especially after, you know, a couple of years have passed, I think it's in bed. It should stay there.
So yeah, that's one of the other things that makes MST unique is that it went out while it was still good when it ended. It wasn't like, you know, yes, I love the show, but I'm glad it's ending because it's not as good as it was anymore.
Right.
That you can't say that about the final season. You know, not every, you know, there's some, you know, kind of like okay-ish episodes in the final season, but there's still plenty of like great episodes in that last season. It's like it's not like that's last season.
Yeah, it's not every show that could have its entire change cast at least once, move to 2 different networks, and change leading men, and still be as successful and as well remembered as MST3K is and continues to be, and come back a third time.
Yeah, there's not many other TV shows in the history of television that can lay claim to that, what MST3K was able to do, and that's what makes it so special.
And I think that's a good note to end that segment on. But before we go out tonight, we have a very special announcement. I'm very, very, very excited to announce that on the February episode of MSTieCast, we might do 2, I don't know, but on the first episode of February, we have a very special guest. Kind of surprised to throw this one at you guys. It was kind of a surprise to me. Miss Jackey Raye Neyman-Jones. For those of you who don't know, she played Debbie in Manos, The Hands of Fate. Her father, Tom Neyman, was and continues to be the master in the Manos sequel being produced. He has reprised his role, and she is also in it as well. And she has a book about Manos as well, and we're going to talk to her about that and the sequel and all the other stuff. We're going to speak to her, I believe, this Sunday, if all goes as planned, and she will be the first episode of February. So tune in for that. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about Manos so many times on the show.
Yeah.
You know, we had Ben Solovey, who's doing the restoration, and we've spoken about Manos RiffTrax and Manos The Hands of Fate, the MST3K episode, and, you know, we've spoken at length about that film, and it's going to be really cool to have someone who was there. And our good friend Joshua McLeod is going to be joining us for that one. So welcome him back as well. And yes, that will be hopefully out next week. It might be 2 weeks. It depends on how long it takes to edit, because I'm very busy at work right now. But hopefully, I'm really looking forward to this one, guys. Like, this is the most excited I've been about an episode in a long time.
Yeah,
so,
it's been a while since we were able to get like someone of this kind of caliber like MSTK. It's been a while, so it's just really cool. So we hope you look forward to that next time. Okay.
And if you have any questions for Miss Neyman-Jones, feel free to send them to us via email, mailbag@MSTieCast.com. There's also the Ask here on the Tumblr, MSTieCast.com. There's the Facebook page. There's the Twitter. If you have questions you want us to ask, you know, we'll pick the one we're not, if we get several 100 questions, we're not going to be able to ask them all, but we will ask the best ones, the ones we feel haven't been answered elsewhere. So try and send us those. Don't say, hey, so what did you like the dog? This is a nice dog. How was the dog?
So we said the dog had to die. Something like that.
No, don't send us something like that. Send us something that you don't think you've seen elsewhere, like in another interview with her, because she's done a few about Manos.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I believe that's it for this episode. If anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, this episode turned out way longer than I thought it would. This was supposed to be like a 30-minute. Okay, it's the end of January. We got to get an episode out type of show, and then we spoke for about 30 minutes on how great Mystery Science Theater is. Which, I mean, I guess that is what you're listening to the show for.
Exactly.
So again, thank you for listening. Send us your questions for Miss Jones, and I believe that's it.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
All right. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm Justin Toner.
It will be dark soon. Take care.
Take care.
Now, poopy.